Good morning, everyone. Oh, things have gotten a little quiet, especially the end of last week. You see these bars overlapping each other. So I imagine we're going to get some movement this week with all of, economic reports, earnings reports coming out. This morning, 10:30. I don't know how much of a market mover it'll be, but Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, and then 11:30, there's a couple of short-term auctions, 3 month and 6 months, which depending on the auction is tended to move the markets a little bit. Whether anybody wants to buy U.S. debt anymore for this country. But keep that in mind. So the question, will it break out of this range? I don't know. We've got a little bottom of the range and on top of the range, and prices are trading inside the range right now. You can see the cursor on the daily chart is right at Friday's open and close, which is like a little doji kind of a bar, which signals the momentum came to a screeching halt. And Thursday wasn't much better, but they bought the dip. And that was after a red bar that gapped up. So a little distribution there, but sellers, kind of standoff. Whatever seller's happening, buyers are stepping up, and trend is up, still bullish. Little shelf of support down here you can see there, and below that, you got a little subjective area, I guess, of these highs or minor support, but what's directly to the left, there's nothing. So maybe it stops on here. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, as we say. Enough people looking at something with the same thought or belief, they'll act on that. So, if it breaks through this level, they'll step up at this level. If it should get there, the 20 will probably be rising into that level. So you'll have the 20 there. So this area right there, and it's being a whole number, 480, it'll be a significant reference point of support if prices should pull back there. I'm all in favor of that happening. I don't know if it will, but more numbers come out on Tuesday, which will probably be more of a mover, and then some earnings reports that come out. So we'll see how it unfolds. That's all we can do. Right now, nothing's happening. SPX, the levels have moved up and down. So when the market doesn't move, these levels that we can consider begin to tighten up, in the average range, which was not too long ago, close to 50 handles day to day, is now down to 29-ish. As you can imagine, it's just chopping sideways there. And so down below, it doesn't give you a lot of breathing room. So I think it's best to wait a little while. That 4,900 level has been pretty tough, and each time it gets up there, it gets rejected, as you can see. So what's going to move it? I don't know I don't think there's anything that's going to move it other than just technical trading today, or another market that's moving, which we're going to take a look at. Qs are up here a little bit, but they have more of a rolling over appearance to the pattern since they got further extended. So waiting for some direction and then looking to fade that direction as far as the spread goes, meaning maybe if it does sell off and it comes down to this area here, you can get a little below this, so below 48.50, that would be desirable. Anytime you got a 50 strike or a whole number strike, tends to have a little more support. And where that 50 is, you can see is, it's those bottom of those bars there and those pivots on the hourly chart. So anywhere you can have that little support area to trade against, that's a good thing. It's down below there, it's like, be a little bit of a dip, but probably not going to happen, if it's going to happen until tomorrow or the next day. Yeah, we're going to get to IWM, which I think has, and I've said last week, has, I believe, the greatest potential for a reward to risk trade on the long side if it could take out the highs. Yeah, we can take a look at that. So as you review or did review all of your charts over the weekend or at the end of last week, what we find is a whole lot of what we call shakeouts. Down, V up, sideways, to different variations of that pattern. There's a lot of that. Because we're back to that narrow breadth situation where Magnificent Seven or Six or Five or whatever they are, led the way up to varying degrees, some stronger than the other. And you had underperformance in the small caps and the well, pretty much everywhere. The transports, the home building stocks took a little breather and a little hit. So a lot of things, even some of the strong gave it up. So what we want to see is things start to get out of the trading range. So whether it's another bar, and you can see this is just trading inside of that range there. I was saying Tesla took a hit. Yeah, well, Tesla took a hit. DHI took a hit. That's residential construction. And meanwhile, the market's held up pretty well. And the consumer discretionary sector, which I thought maybe could bring up the rear because of those two stocks held it back, and that wasn't able to move up. So it's the same story here. Things are consolidating a bit, and we'll see if that can get going. Qs a little got more extended. The weighting of those big stocks and pushing this and moving up. So down into this little unfilled gap area. It's really small, and then the little lows there. And then below that, there's what we call a void. Void means that there's no support. And you can see it's a straight up move. And if you look at the hourly chart, you just see bar over bar moving up. There's a little unfilled gap down there. That could be the stall, and that's lined up with this minor support area. So give or take the 20 MA, if things are going to go lower, those are your reference points on the Qs somewhere, around 412 or 15, somewhere in there. Is where you've got some decent support. So keep that in mind. You can see where prices are at here. Not moving, not much going on. Everybody kind of a lazy Monday morning, not much going on. Everybody waiting for news, earnings, the Fed on Wednesday, the never ending speculation of, what are they ever going to ease or what are they going to do? So that easing scenario seems to be fading. Probably the right thing for it to fade. Transports, there's, different variation. But rather than going sideways at this resistance, it poked right through it, showed strength. And now it's going sideways at this resistance. So that showed strength. So can that kick it in and move up? We'll see, of course. Now, a lot of the weekly charts, as you would have reviewed, is this buy setup down here. And what's one of the things to be a little apprehensive about a buy setup like that is like it's tradable, but it's certainly one that probably historically says, don't go all in because resistance is so close by. And you probably get, if you get the right price action on the daily like this, where it consolidates. Let me back up. So if you bought it above this high, generality of talking patterns here, it does not just be the transports. When an extended move and a shallow pullback and resistance so close, going like half position, third position, and then if you get the right price action on the daily, where it starts to go sideways at resistance, and then you maybe get bottoming tail bars, a little shakeout, and then a continuation, you can add to it. And then we look for it to see if it can get above that pivot high and go to the next one. So from the bullish case, that's what we're looking for this week in these type of patterns, whether these consolidations can result in the next move up. And if they break the low for whatever reason, that they pop right back up again. BB Puck saying if we stay this sideways pattern, yeah, you could do a condor, and if SPX goes one way or the other early, you could put on one side and the other side. You don't have to do it all at the same time. GC. Okay, we'll get to GC. The Dow. Yeah. And I've been kind of looking for that for a while, Alex, but it's been a mess as far as gold going. But the Dow, which kind of looks like the best to possibly get going, because it's up above these highs and cleared it. And we've got these red bars ignored from last week, but there's not much happening there. And you can see the futures, not much happening. Sideways, everything's sideways. So just, different pictures, of course, of, well, this one looks like more susceptible to a pullback, but there's the support. You got your levels there to be aware of if it begins to break. Bitcoin, as whippy as it typically is, broke out, and there was the news, the ETF news broke down, and is now trying to create a new level. Gold. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking about this for a while and mentioned it, again in the newsletter over the weekend that, this is near, all-time highs, and it's near this support. It's a messy pattern. If you just wanted to, put on a little position and see, if it holds up here. So with this thought, maybe the Fed isn't going to do anything. Maybe that, and oil is starting to pick up a little bit. Maybe people start thinking inflation again. I don't know. When you have patterns that are just erratic like this and going nowhere, two things. Well, something like this is like stay away until you get a wide range bar, something significant. The equity markets, the trends are up. They need to rest a little bit. So they, a little sideways corrective action going on. Silver, which, moved lower, closer to the bottom of the trading range. That's weaker. So we don't have anything that jumps out at you and says, hey, this thing's ready, other than saying, hey, I'm speculating maybe, because it's down near a low level, doing a little bit. Alex is sharing there's a mini gold ETF, GLD. I guess that's leveraged. GLDM. No, is that a futures contract? It's not that liquid. Gaps all over the place. A mini trust. Why would I want to trade this instead of GLD? I guess there'd be a reason, or you wouldn't be saying it, but smaller price. All right. Well, they're making so many ETFs and trusts and so on. Someone thinking up new things to take a little fee out of here and there. Crude oil broke out of this range, and you can see it's up at the next pivot there. So that'll do some chopping around, trying to deal with that, either sideways down or whether we get a red bar ignored. We'll see. It's still obviously early in the day and the week. The dollar has been grinding. It's up here today. It's top of the range, so nothing of significance. So there's really nothing happening here this morning to say, hey, you know what, this is ready to do something. And maybe individual stocks, sure, there's still good patterns out there. But as far as the broader markets go and different currencies or, commodities or whatever, we'll even take a look at, well, this looks a little, if that was at the end of the day, copper futures, this is popping back up. So that, maybe something that might get going. And, You always got to say, or maybe not. It's just a bottoming tail bar, but it's early, so we'll see what happens there. And other than that, we'll see what today brings and wait for the news and earnings. It should be an exciting week, even though this is starting out pretty slow. But it's all these major market moving stocks and the Fed and economic reports coming out. It's not going to stay quiet all week. I don't think so. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yep, heavy earnings week for sure.
There's the gold and what I spoke about over the weekend in the newsletter.
So busy football weekend for those fans. Hope you enjoyed watching your favorite team. A couple earnings, not many. Big watch list as always. I Robot here. I've been watching ever since the gap down. And I was still watching it, hoping it would make some type of possible retest double bottom, but now it's getting whacked. I have no idea what's going on with that pre-market here. My Hershey alarm went off. Ah, that is a real print. Greg, we've been in this dog a third lot right here on this buy setup right here.
Yeah.
So,
It's likely to continue to be a dog for a while.
well, we only have a third lot, but yeah, that's a real print now. My alarm went off, but I didn't know if it was real or not. But I see the candlesticks. CCL, low alarm. We are long puts in this. Looks fantastic. It's an end of day decline. So I was hoping that it would swan dive here in the morning and we'll cover a third. All right, earnings here. Sophie, 879. It's a bullish gap, but too big. But look at these two over here. I posted in Telegram. Zim gap in here to 15 bucks. That's a bull rectangle, daily, weekly. That's room to go. So I posted that 30-minute high, long, and 5-minute high put spread. YouTube cost above Friday's high. Yeah, sure. Big old powerful uptrend. These things have extended weekly, so you just kind of keep an eye on the exit door since the markets are up so much. And I posted here Zulu, India. So this one I like because it's a gap. It's gapping kind of the resistance here, but that's an inverse head and shoulder. So I like this 30-minute high, big old void, target 18-ish, buy setup weekly. These are earnings again, no volume. Now this would be a great pattern if it gaps over Thursday's high. Let's set an alarm 2850. Delta X-ray gapping up, 30-minute high. 30-minute high and bullish daily weekly. I'll put that in another window. Delta X-ray, never heard of him. Coda, no volume. No volume. Ben, 2870, gapped into that red bar. It's a buy setup on the weekly, so let's keep an eye on it. Gapping down, possible 30-minute low. These just miscellaneous things. Triple M, nice 3-bar reversal here. There's some news about their settlement or whatever. But 30-minute high put spread. FXI. This is China. Now the news is talking about Evergrande, their big real estate company, being down 20%. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that FXI isn't down more. Don't know why. More attacks in the Red Sea. Everyone's after Biden now to go on the offense. So let's keep an eye on military stocks. All right, so that's all I got in the news. Let's see what I just have on miscellaneous watch list. ALB is gapping down. We had a nice climb here for a little 2-bar run. I'm watching this to see if it can give us a double bottom reversal. So Climo, major support, bounce. And so we're just waiting. This is where we're anticipating a pattern to set up. So actually, let me set, I have an up alarm. Let me set a low alarm at 117. Because if it does hold, it can be higher, lower, or relatively the same as these prior lows. Roblex, we have a call. Wait, Roblex. Oh, I gave this as a call spread. But I think Greg mentioned in the video he has an up alarm because if it goes above Friday's high. Now the only thing I don't like about Friday's high is an inverse head and shoulders, is you got this wall of resistance. If this shoulder was even, like right there, then it'd be a no-brainer, target 45. Materials, buy setup, I have an alarm. Cute. Now see, this is a more beautiful inverse head and shoulder. Look at my horizontal line. That's textbook. Left shoulder, downside shakeout, 100% retracement, bullish price action. That is textbook inverse head and shoulder right there. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Mitch has earnings this week, but put spread idea. Same with, that's sloppy. Bios above Wednesday's high. Could go test that prior high. Transports, Greg talked about, regional banks. We have IWM long as an idea. As Greg was saying, we're going to need help from the regionals and the bios to get IWM moving. Nari, that looks like a continuation short. Northern Trust, kind of a, bear flag, bear 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. So that's just bearish consolidation in the lower 40%. So I would say, set an alarm Friday's low, but these lows are so close. Let's just see what it does there. CHK up alarm. Let's have positive barons, oil stock. It's not, I don't like it as a directional. But I posted it as a put spread over Friday's high, and that's alarm just went off. JB Hunt, that's a bull rectangle, flagpole, chopping around sideways. I have that as a put spread over the highs. Tallow, why am I watching tallow? Nothing's jumping out at me, so it must be a positive mention in barons. That's my guess, because there's nothing of interest right now to me, so that's what I think it is. And I think these couple in a row here, when I read barons, I just write them down here. NXPI, I think has positive barons too. XOM, I think positive barons, but there's no pattern. I'm just going to delete you there. CHK. Mindy, I was going to watch a pullback and reversal here around minor support 202. Hey, good morning, Mick. Welcome. SSB I like. It's a 180 reversal closing breakout. Cat, it is a 1-2-3. I'm just not crazy about 1-2-3s that bottom of the range to the top of the range. So ideally it'll go sideways, another inside bar or two. A chewy sell, sloppy sell setup. But under Friday's low, Thursday's low looks lower. Shop, I think Pat gave us this one Friday and I liked it. So over the highs, breakout, daily, weekly, monthly, shop looks great. Earnings 213. So we got plenty of time, 2 weeks. G triple I, this is what we call the turn. 2 weeks making the turn at the 50, buy setup weekly. Mister, I was going to give as a put spread, but the options are too spready. Walmart was a 180 closing breakout. That looks higher. Fry kind of looks like light volume, the way these overlapping bars, but closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly. Sam, I think that was yours. I have an alarm already. Bro, watching for the turn. That's a textbook buy setup. Minor support. The only thing I don't like, it still runs so much that there's a kind of a high degree of probability, or I'll say 50% probability that even if this triggers, it can fail and make another leg down. So that's my only hesitancy. Like ideally, let's say hypothetically it gapped up to $77 instead of 80. And then you gave me a controlled pullback like this, then controlled pullback and reversal down here, that would be much higher probability buy setup. But still on the list, I like it. Z Zulu, I think we already sold a put spread on Friday. All right, I got a bunch of alarms going off. Let me get to them here. Roblex, we have a call spread already. So that's a good alarm. Let me just lower it now. Set a high alarm 41. Hershey, so we talked about that. G. No, that was a typo. Look, there's a typo, and that's a good setup. I typed Hershey wrong. I typed HYS, and look, that's a gap over a red bar breakout. Look, I see the first word here, Pimco. G triple I alarm went off, but that's an early alarm, so ignore it. Nari alarm. Let's do 5-minute low is good to go. Yep, QB alarm. That was a van. So Greg, tell me how you want to enter it. Oh, you just did. Never mind. All right, you just did. All right, so Greg, if you can help us on that, I can't watch everything. Our Delta X-ray ripping here. All right, I'll try to watch QB. But I asked you that many times. We have because it's art, it's not science of telling our subscribers, oh, it ain't a big gap, just buy it.
Buy it at 55, 55 and a half. With the same stop.
Okay, but again, I don't want to belabor it now, but we have many times we have this discussion on Monday mornings. Is that an excessive gap? And but
I mean, if it goes to 58, then common sense is not going to come down. But if it just holds here and starts coming in, and it's above that, I'm looking at the 5-minute, like which is top of that bar, that topping tail bar is 55. So I'm figuring it might come down to that if it comes in later in the day, maybe give or take. And so without having to stare at it all day to tell subscribers, which will take a little common sense, buying it around 55 and a half with a stop under yesterday's low, and we'll see what happens. If it keeps going, then nothing we could do. We missed it.
Right, so I was giving you the opportunity not to miss it, to buy half lot and on a pullback.
That's a personal choice. I won't do that. But because, it moved up whatever it did on Friday and, it gapped up a decent amount. So, I have the luxury of watching it, throwing it in a thumbnail to see if it comes down on a 5 minute into, wherever, forming a little double bottom, but I
All
might
right,
miss it.
all right, this Delta X-ray I said I liked a lot. So that,
When I say I might miss it, that means it doesn't pull back and it, it keeps going, but whatever.
all right. Coin I gave as a put spread. Let's wait 5 minute high on coin just because he can be tricky.